I did Gonzo's last interview before he died.
Damn.
Rest in peace.
He died in Seattle too, man.
Yeah,
Damn.
exactly.
So Gonzo was a solo artist on my label, at Priority, and him and Pac were real close. So I was like, yo, let's go fly to Vegas.
Did he talk about how Tupac would be smoking weed in first class on flights and wilding out?
Yeah.
So on a commercial plane.
On a commercial plane, was smoking
pull
weed.
out some weed.
Yes, and smoke weed. And not give a fuck. It's a different time back then, you know what I'm saying?
You're still not allowed to smoke. This wasn't that long ago. It's not like it's the 50s.
Now, I remember when there was a smoking section on the plane. This is, we were 7,
like
8 years old.
maybe?
So remember, this is 1979, 1980.
Yeah, exactly.
And you were able to, but I remember when they stopped smoking in restaurants in LA, that was like 94, where you had to smoke outside.
Right.
And you couldn't smoke inside a restaurant anymore. And it's crazy to think that you were able to smoke fucking just puff cigarettes in a restaurant or a smoking section, whatever.
Right.
So going back, after Pac had died, that following morning, I went to Tattoo Mania, which is a world famous tattoo artist named Mark Mahoney, who owns Shamrock Social Club now in Sunset. He was there doing a tattoo, and I see Kadhafi, Napoleon, and most of the Outlawz are there. And Kidada, who's a dear friend of mine forever too. Kidada Jones was there getting the All Eyes on Me, the Tupac on her arm, which I think she finally got it removed.
Yeah, I mean, she was dating Pac. She was with him in Vegas in the hotel room.
The whole time and everything.
The whole time, yeah.
My boy Gobi was with Pac in the hospital every day.
Wow.
The whole last 7 days of his life, he's in there.
Yeah.
Nobody else was there. Like, it was weird. He'll tell you the story. I don't want to ruin it for him. His recollection of the last 7 days of Pac's life was amazing.
How do you feel about Keefe D right now? Because my interview kind of told the whole story.
I don't know. I don't really know what to say. Like, I don't even know what to call that. Like, do you call it whistleblowing? Do you call it like, what do you, like, I don't even know what to say. Like, it's just such a weird thing. Like, and the crazy part about it is, I think I've watched so much of your stuff not knowing it's your stuff because I'm paying attention to the content and not what platform it's on. And oh my God. I don't know, man. That's a really tough place to I don't know. One, look, I haven't been prepared for any question. We just came in here freestyle.
Right.
To hit me with that was like one where I just feel like I don't know if I could even answer that. I just feel like that was I know your job is just to get a story out there, so I'm not saying that, but like all the shit that he said, I don't know if I could believe everything, like not saying he's either lying too, but it's just like, it's just a lot to, some stuff I knew that you've heard, and some of the stuff just like, Jesus Christ. But by the way, did he finally get locked up or what happened?
No, he's locked up right now.
Okay.
Yeah, and Whack 100 was going to post his bail, but then it was like a $750,000 bail, and Whack was going to, basically came up
with... The bond was $750 or the bail was $750? The
bond was $750. Well, I mean, the whole bail was $750, and Whack was going to come up with $75,000.
Right.
And at the actual bail hearing, I guess Whack said that it was a gift, and then they played this Vlad TV interview that I just did with Whack, where he talked about essentially bailing him out and doing like a documentary on him, which they played in court. So they basically shut down the whole bail hearing over that.
Why? Why do they care where the money came from?
That's what I said. I had no idea. I mean, Whack volunteered that information. It's not like I even knew he was going to do that before the interview. But I guess because Whack said it was a gift and, something to do with...
You could have somebody on the fucking... You could have a
I know. That's what I said. As long as it's legal money, as long as it's not like drug money or anything, it should be totally legal, which is what I thought. But essentially, he's not freed yet. I don't know whether it's ongoing or whatever. Whack's supposed to be on here in a couple of days, so we'll talk about it then. But yeah, that's basically what happened. Whack was going to put up the money, but they wouldn't let him do it because of this interview, and it is what it is at this point.
I think in my entire life of living, 50 plus years, 51 years, I've managed to maneuver without having any real beef with anybody. And that was kind of like a good thing. There's been some misunderstandings and there's been drama. I got caught up in the Cypress Hill Ice Cube beef when that was really big and streets were like, like it was like motherfuckers were pulled out of cars and...
Right, because Ice Cube was on Priority and
Cypress Hill was on Buzztone through Epic.
Rough House.
Yeah, Rough House through Epic.
Yeah.
And there was a rumor because I was friends with Carmen Electra and I was DJ for her way back.
Huh.
She has her album deal with Warner Brothers, and somehow, some way, it got back that I was gonna try to fucking shoot Be Real.
What?
And me and they were waiting outside a concert for me.
That's crazy.
It's a true story. We talked about it on Be Real's show.
Yeah, that's my man.
And it was a misunderstanding. But me and Be Real, like, we couldn't be better. Like, I'm down with Soul Assassins and all that, so I never had no beef. So, like, I've always been caught in these weird ass beefs. So, like, the situation with Keefe, I never met dude prior. I remember seeing him vaguely, you know, whatever. But like, me and Wack are good. But that interview that he did like 3 or 4, right?
He did a few interviews, yeah. But my interview was his first real sit down where he explained the whole thing from beginning to end, which was all based off his book, mind you. He had
I didn't know he had a book. Sorry,
he had released a book detailing all the stuff that we talked about.
And he didn't think once that he was going to go to jail?
Well, he had a proffer agreement. So proffer agreements are a little bit fuzzy in terms of depending on whether it's the state or the feds, you shouldn't be charged with it. But then again, sometimes it's like it only applies to the day that you actually say it. And if you repeat it, then you can't be charged with it. Or if you say something and they're able to get someone else to corroborate your story, they could charge you with it. It's very fuzzy. And it's gonna play out in court.
It's weird. I was with Pac a few weeks before he had passed. I was with Biggie inside 7 days of him dying. I was with Nipsey Hussle 5 days before he died. So it's just like a weird thing.
People call you the Forrest Gump of hip hop.
Yeah, Forrest Gump of hip hop. So like, I think it's weird when they were investigating the murder up to a year or 2 years later. I forgot what the dude's name is, but I do remember watching one of the documentaries on Hulu or whatever it was, Amazon or something. The guy was behind it. He was an LA Times reporter. He was really like for real journalist, really doing deals. He was asking me questions and everything. And there's not much I really knew. You know, like.
Yeah.
I think Keefe said more than anybody knew.
Well, Keefe was in the car, allegedly. Now, he's saying he wasn't even there. That's going to be his defense. And that's really between him and, Las Vegas PD at this point.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Again, if you ask me, I wasn't prepared to even think about that interview, but I forgot that it was on this, and it was just fucking crazy.
Well, yeah. I mean, for the longest time, I've always said that I solved the Tupac murder, which I really didn't. But, Las Vegas PD is the only one that could really solve it. But the story I laid out with Keefe D essentially laid out the whole story and all the pieces fit together. But I've always said the Biggie murder was sort of a mystery to me because it could go too many different directions. But if you watch the last few months of interviews, like Wack 100 said that Poochie, this guy named Poochie, who was a Mob Pyroot Blood, was the one that killed Biggie. And I'd heard this over and over again. Mob James said, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Greg Kading had been saying that. And now when I interviewed Vanilla Ice, he actually co-signed the same name. Because Vanilla Ice was in the mix with Suge Knight, remember? I
remember he was in the mix, but I didn't think he'd be that deep into it.
He wasn't that deep into it, but you got to understand where he was in the music industry. I mean, this guy was selling Diamond and, he knew a lot of people.
I mean, dog, I remember the night that Biggie died. It was a Quincy Jones party at the Peterson Museum.
Right.
So I was in the studio with Fred Joe Starr and Sticky Fingers from Onyx.
Right.
Doing a song for the American Pimp soundtrack that was a Hughes Brothers film.
Mm-hmm.
Found out, we got in the car and smashed over there and wanted to see what was going on. And I just thought about the whole situation. And then I remember everyone's at Cedar Sinai. It's right across from the Belly Center. And you see the Brat, you see a bunch of people there, and you're just like, whoa, this is fucking crazy. Now, when you think about that intersection of Fairfax and Wilshire, you're talking about iconic intersection besides anything. Like, this is like, where like, it's just crazy. Like, I know every possible escape route you can go to. Do you know what I mean? Make a right. All right, what's the next street? Orange. Okay, cool. We're going to go, straight? They didn't go straight. They made a right. So how far down Wilshire did they go? They could have went down Wilshire, made a right on Orange, took that to Olympic, maybe cut through, went through San Vicente, then cut through Mid-City. Who knows where the fuck they went, right? Bottom line is, there was LAPD that was doing security for all these people, so I don't know.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. I mean, according to Wack, it was this guy Poochie, who's now dead. He was Suge's affiliate in some sort of way, but he was saying this had to do with East Coast politics. Eric Von Zip is somehow thrown into this story as well. According to Keefe, Eric Von Zip was the one who gave him the gun to kill Tupac. And then there was the whole story about $1 million payment that, allegedly came from
You're not
Diddy.
worried about any of this?
This is all out there, man. This is all out there. And then Eric Von Zip is dead. And the story was that Eric Von Zip took the money from Diddy and then bought a nightclub with it instead of handing it over. And right around that time, TK Kirkland was super close. And he said, yes, he did buy a nightclub right around that time.
So I mean, at this point, like, if this dude is dead and he is responsible for it, it's like,
there's a lot of dead people
what
that are
an
responsible.
underwhelming ending to, like, you know what I mean? It's like,
yes, no one. Keefe's the only living person in the mix.
Yeah.
At this point. And, whether or not you want to say Diddy or not, but I don't think Diddy will ever get charged because there's too much time has passed and it's hearsay and whatever else. But yeah, it's a big mess and most of the people are dead.